6 million ways to die. Took a lot to get this rolling, nigga. 6 million ways to get rich. Everybody keep telling me make a club record. You ain't trapping no more, stop making drug records. You got a daughter about to come, stop making thug records. I brought that money back fast, I had the plug flexing. Woke up to Harlem, El Barrio, that's the drug section. Hit your bitch with my jeans on, ain't making love naked. I got love for my loco, but I know cuz reckless. I ain't gotta sleep in the projects, I did enough stressing. My father was a rolling stone, but taught me one lesson. Do your dirt by yourself, your friends be the ones telling. I knew it broke my mother heart to know her son selling. I had coke in my dresser, trifling as ever. Had a dream, Biggie featured me on Life After. I be with my same niggas, I don't really like rappers. Niggas can't make a song for nothing, but they nice actors. Go and get a movie role, low bagging up tuna rolls, raw shit. I come from a block where you seen it, but never saw shit. I be at the juice bar on my wheat grass and bark shit. My youngin' just came from up north, he wanna park shit. Trying to teach him something about life and how we started. Lower class poverty, homies from jail calling me, playing the number.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back to Big Man Camps, and we are live Monday, February 13th, 2017. I am Jeff. They call me the Big Man on Campus. I'm here with my co-host Ryan D'Amico. Ryan, how you doing today?
What's up, man? Yeah, I'm doing well. Doing real well. How are you?
I can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just living, you know. We're back, ready to attack another week here on the show, the Big Men on Campus podcast, and welcome out there, everyone who is tuning in around the world, because we do have a couple international listeners.
We do. That's true.
Welcome to always our normal people. Welcome to everyone out there on the chat box. I'm excited for today's show. We got a lot to talk about, Ryan. Not a particularly strong, long, heavy card, but there's definitely some opportunities. We'll get your play of the day. You had, I think, one on Saturday.
Yeah, just one play, and it was a loser, and 2 games under 500 now, so we have some work to do this week.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see, Ryan, how you end up this year. Because, like, you go on runs, and I have a feeling you'll go on a run. So I had a show yesterday, a small show, and actually did pretty well. If you listen to some of the leans, some of them came in. But, look, I'm not going to – I don't get into talking about the leans that hit. I'm looking to give out good information. If you cash and make money on those picks, congratulations. We got a win yesterday on the client card, thank God. SMU got the job done.
Right.
Won't talk too much about that just because we haven't done well this month. And, it's been a tough couple months, couple weeks here. So, for the record, Ryan, let's get the elephant out of the room right away. I mean, we're gonna have to talk about this at some point, and I'm gonna just direct it. It'll take a minute or two. I'm getting a lot of questions. Am I still on SBR? Yes, I still am on SBR. I will not be on the odds couple going forward, but I will be on. I'll be on the roundtable tomorrow. I'll be on the show I have on Saturday, and I will be on with Sportsbet coming up here. So we're moving on. I do want to, many people didn't see what went on. It really just kind of spiraled, kind of out of control. Got a little bit. It went a little too deep. I made a comment, Ryan. You saw the comment about Donald Trump. Somebody didn't like what I wrote. For the record, I don't know that person. I've never worked with that person. I have no idea who they are. That person decided to comment to me and talk negatively towards me. I don't know who they are. Have you ever seen that person before, Ryan? I haven't.
I have not.
I've never seen them before. If they were someone I dealt with in the past, I would surely tell you. I don't know him. I've never dealt with him. I do and have seen his Twitter. He is fairly negative to a lot of people. I've never dealt with him, but I think he had a little too much to drink. I got that feeling. But he decided that I think he thought I was maybe somebody else. I did learn a little bit by maybe, I don't want to offend anyone. Maybe I shouldn't tweet certain things about things. I guess I have my own opinions. Maybe I should keep them to myself.
Isn't that what social media is all about?
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The problem is, I guess people take it a little too literally. Keep in mind, I didn't attack anyone directly. It was my post. I made it. I didn't attack anyone directly. And the people that were directly involved, listen, we've worked together. I have nothing. I wish them the best. Mike and Peter. I love Peter. I worked with Mike for a while. I would love to continue to work with them. Unfortunately, they decided to go another way, but I still love SBR. We've done a lot of good things there. I hope to continue to do a lot of good things there, and I still think they're one of the best in the business. So, we'll get that elephant out of the room because, I was kind of shut out. I wasn't really able to say what went on. And I just want to put to bed that customer, they're not a customer of mine. I've never dealt with them. I've never seen them on the show here. Maybe they took a pick that I gave out and it lost. I don't know. We just need to remember what we're all doing here. So, everyone out there, welcome in. After that, Ryan, do you have anything to say on that level? Nothing?
Not really.
Right.
The only thing I'll say on it is, from my perspective and from the outside looking in, as if I was just like anyone else that saw the interaction.
No. They're not a disgruntled. Stop, people, please stop saying that. I've never worked with this person, ever. I've never worked with them.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, as someone on the outside looking in, is what I take away from it is he's the one that starts the interaction.
Correct.
On just a view of yours,
Correct.
which all it is a view, and we all, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whether it's music, whether it's religion, whether it's whatever, we all post our views on social media, whether it be about something that's not as controversial as what we have going on in our country right now, or like I said, whether it's my opinion on Michigan basketball's play yesterday, whatever. But the fact that he initiated the drama and took it to that level and then sought out SBR just goes to show you that he's in the wrong.
Correct.
And this is not me sticking up for Jeff. This is just me kind of calling it the way I see it. And that's the way I saw it. And
listen, at the end of the day, I've made it clear. I'm not going to. I understand if you don't like me for any particular reason. That's totally fine. I've said that before. But when you begin to harass me and say stupid things to me that aren't true, then again, this was brought and made into a bigger issue than it should have been.
Right.
This really should have been. This has nothing to do with anyone but that guy.
Yep.
And that's kind of, the sucky thing about it.
I'll tell you what, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, and I'll let you kind of do whatever you want to do after this, is if I were in your position, now I'm obviously not, if I was in your position, I would, and you have to a degree, I would have taken this whole situation extremely personally for the simple fact that some guy who isn't our quote unquote regular on this show or on a SBR
correct
SBR chat. You know, we all see those guys that we see from time to time. We start recognizing names. He's not a regular, and Mike more or less took his side.
Listen, I'm not going to.
And that's the issue I have. You don't have to say it with anything, but I'm just saying.
Listen,
that would be the issue I have.
I'm going to make a point. Listen, I would have loved to have addressed the situation with anyone. Unfortunately, social media it's very there's a huge stuff that goes on. A lot of weird things that go on. Again, this person I've never dealt with. I don't know what record he was talking about because I went on SBR and have done pretty well in there. For the most part, I've always done very well in there, so I'm not really quite sure what this person's talking about. And the guy knew he was in the wrong because he deleted all his tweets. I mean, and that's where the issue lies. I'm looking to provide quality information. I want to bury that. I don't want any bad blood here. Unfortunately, it got way too bad. I was approached. I was directly involved for whatever reason. That person started with me. Everyone saw that. And I was shut out.
Yep.
There's nothing I can do about that. I would like to squash anything. I feel I've always been very forthcoming with anything. So, we'll move on, Ryan. I mean, I'm still going to come on here every day and give out my opinion.
That's all you can do.
And again, I mean, I love SBR. They've driven me great avenues to promote myself, to promote my show here, and to promote me as a person and allow me to give my opinion on a large level. I look forward tomorrow to working with Ian Cameron, Ed Fang, Drew Martin, and Donnie Rightside to do the roundtable. I'll be on Sports Bit with Teddy Covers and Paul Howard Wednesday, and I got my show on SBR on Saturday. So I'm going to keep on keeping on. Odds Couple will do their thing. They're going to keep doing you. They're going to keep doing the thing. So, again, everyone can be a supporter of everyone. We're all about to try to make money here. Let's move on here to more pressing things today. Ryan, we have a card today that involves a lot of Sun Belt and some Big 12 and a couple other ACC and that kind of thing. A potpourri of college basketball goodness, you could say. We will get into that. We're also going to talk about, Ryan, we're going to do some 5 questions, I believe. And we're also going to come up with, and I'll get and allow the listeners to think this over. I watched Once Brothers. You've seen that. Or I believe it's called one.
The Vlade Divac.
Yeah, what's it called?
I can't remember what it's called.
Honestly, I just always think 30.
I can't remember the title.
Once Brothers, I believe it was called. I watched that over the weekend, and I'm a big Drazen Petrov fan. I always liked Vlade Divac. So we're going to come up, Ryan, with our 90s and 2000s starting fives.
Starting 5.
We're going to include some bench players as well. And we'll come up with the ultimate team, if you will.
Yep.
And I think my answers may surprise, but I think Ryan will go the more traditional route probably.
Most likely.
Once Brothers. That's what it was called because they were once like brothers. Let's jump into today's action, Ryan. First game on the card. Again, these plays are for entertainment only. Whether you tail or fade, that's up to you. First one on the card. You got Baylor at Texas Tech. I don't have an over-under here. I didn't even...
127.5.
127.5. I didn't even look at the total. Baylor's laying 2.5. This is in Lubbock. Baylor, Ryan, number 1 RPI team in the country.
They are.
I did not know that. I guess that's what makes them a number 1 seed right now. Yeah. Their quality wins.
They only have 3 losses.
Their quality schedule. Look, they've gotten it all done all year on the road. I mean, if you look at this team, they're not only winning, they're covering games. They're 9-2 straight up on the road, 8-2 to the number. And look, we've talked about Baylor time and time again. Guard play is decent. Bigs are where they make their money, and defense is where they make their money. They're a fantastic defensive team, 61 points per game, allowing opponents to shoot 38.7%, which very good. Very good defensive numbers there. And look, I think the big issue for Texas Tech in this game is, first of all, I've talked about them. I don't think they're a very good basketball team. They are a veteran-laden team. They do have some guys that can definitely play with the likes of LeCompte and John Motley. But you look at on the glass, I think Baylor's really going to own Texas Tech tonight on the glass. You look at in conference, Texas Tech, under 30 rebounds a game. That is not good enough in this one. I think Motley, Akil, they should have a nice night under the basket here. Look, Texas Tech's going to play hard. They always do. You could point also, I know a lot of people will bring up, well, Baylor's played a lot of games in a row here. Played a lot of games in the last couple of days. On 1 or less days of rest this year, Ryan, Baylor 2-0 in the next game in those games. So, again, these are college kids. Let's remember, a lot of these kids are going to be able to play 4 or 5 days in a row if they need to. Many do come conference tournament time. Baylor's also a very good defensive team at the three-point line, Ryan. Texas Tech has made a lot of money for themselves this year shooting the 3 ball, 38% from 3. Baylor, Ryan, what do they do good defensively? They guard the three-point line as well.
Yeah.
Very good all-around defensive team. And I think, again, you got Baylor on the 1 line here, Ryan. They're still a number 1 seed.
Yep.
They still have a target on their back, and I think they still, they have a lot to play for. They're not kind of just gliding in and getting into the conference tournament. Listen, Texas Tech, they pissed away any opportunity I think they had to get in that large bid with their poor conference schedule, their pathetic out-of-conference schedule, and losing against Kansas the other day was, I think, the nail in their coffin. If they beat Baylor here, I still don't think they're in. They're not even in the first 4 out. They're not in the next 4 out. Yep. And you look at their resume this year. Ryan, their strength of schedule is at 105. The RPI is at 99. They have no top 25 wins. And in their 16 wins, 12 have come against top 101 or worse teams. That, to me, is a fairly a team that is a benefit of a good schedule. They really in the top 25 wins, Kansas State.
Yep, they've really fallen off.
I mean, really. I mean, you haven't beaten anybody, and just because you beat Baylor tonight, I don't think that puts you in. I really don't. There's 7 teams I think get into the tournament from the Big 12. Texas Tech is not one of them. I think Baylor goes in. Anything under 3, I think, is a buy sign here. If you can get this under 1 possession, I like it here. I think Baylor goes in, takes care of business, and puts the nail in Texas Tech's coffin.
Yeah, I think, obviously a win here would go a long way for Texas Tech, and I'm sure they know that, and it's at home, and the place will be rocking early, and all that kind of good stuff. But, yeah, I'm on your side, and it's interesting. I wasn't sure which way you were going to go on this, just because I know you're not a huge Baylor fan and whatnot, and I know you're not. I know you're not. I was going to say, I know you're not a big Texas Tech guy either, so that's why I said I was interested to see kind of which way you would lean on this. Yeah, this game was actually pretty easy for me. Like you mentioned, the big edge on the glass really going to limit second chance points for Texas Tech. In turn, give Baylor a couple extra possessions as well. Like I say, love rebounding margin when I try to cap games. Baylor, to me, too, if you look at Baylor, it's funny. There are some people that love Baylor, think they're a very good team, and there's people like us, like Jeff and myself, who are kind of on edge with Baylor. Like, at least I'll speak for myself. I think Baylor's a really good team. I mean, 22-3. That's impressive. You look at their 3 losses, nothing to really get upset about. You got on the road at Kansas, you got on the road at West Virginia, and then, of course, you have the one slip-up game against Kansas State, the slip-up game that almost every team in the country has on the season. So I'm not going to kill them for that. It happens. It's happened a lot to most teams this year. But they just keep grinding. They keep finding ways to win in a game like this, where not laying a huge number, basically just asking them to find a way to get the job done and win. Like Jeff said, you get that number under one possession. That's beautiful. And you can't ignore the fact of how good they've been on the road. Like Jeff said, 8-2 ATS. Look, that's good enough to me. I think Texas Tech possibly can hang for a while here, simply on emotion. But emotion can only last for so long. Eventually, talent takes over, and I'm just not sure Texas Tech has enough to kind of battle with Baylor. But Baylor's a talented team. Look, they are. And do I think that they can make a run? Yeah, possibly, but I'm not going to put them in a Final Four team just yet. But Baylor's good. I think you think they're a good basketball team, right? I mean, I do. How can you not with that RPI?
I don't know that they're a number one seed in my opinion, but
I think they should be a number one seed.
Yeah, I think resume wise,
because I think you ask yourself that, and that's the thing I think a lot of.
But I don't know if they're as talented as.
But I think that's something people don't do is people say, I don't think Baylor's a number one seed. Okay, then who do you put in that number one seed spot?
Right.
Because in my opinion, I don't think there's anyone else that deserves it more than them.
But again, Ryan, let's just concentrate on this one.
No, I know, right? No,
I think Texas Tech is. Are they desperate? Yes. I'm just not sure that even if they win here, that this puts them in. I'm not sure it does. So, yeah, I'm going to go Baylor here. I think they go in and take care of business here.
Now, look, Texas Tech has had their number lately. They've covered 4 of 5. So
one thing we can agree with, if Baylor loses this game, they're out of a 1 seed. I would think. This is really not Texas Tech you should beat.
Here's the thing, though. No, the 1 seeds are great. Number 2 seeds are just as good.
All right.
Really. Let's be real. They're not going to lose this game and then drop to a 4
as a
seed.
program, they have always kind of done that where they've kind of went away. I think they come out here and play hard.
Right.
I'm going to go with them as the first free play tonight.
And Texas Tech did just come off a really emotional game as well against Kansas. Let's not forget that. A game where I'm sure if you ask the coaches, you ask the kids, they probably let one slip away. They felt like they could have easily won that game. They lose by 1 point on a late foul at the end. So, tough turnaround here against another talented team. So, inferior teams like this, I really don't like them catching them in a back-to-back like this against two top 5 teams.
Right. So I'll go Baylor here as the first free pick and see how it goes. But again, I'm going, and that's why that's a free play. I'm going against a lot of the things that I don't like. I don't like betting against home teams as an underdog. I don't like that, but I think Baylor skates by here somehow.
I think so.
Next one. I'm going to go with the total. I'm going to go over 137, Ryan, in Nova DePaul. Nova laid a big number here, 17.5, 18. This is pretty high in conference play. And Villanova, for what it's worth, DePaul played them very tough last time. Concern here for me, though, is Nova in kind of a revenge factor angle here. Are they a team that can go on the road against a team that played them tough and slam them? Let's point out, Ryan, DePaul as bad as they are, they're actually pretty good offensively at home. 47%, 75 points a game. They're good at the line. They're hitting threes. And you look at their over trends. 9 of 14 have gone over at home this year. 4 of their last 5 overall have gone over. And you look at the last 16 games, 11 have gone over in this matchup. So, for me, again, I'm concerned about tempo. Neither team very high tempo, but you look at Nova, very good offensively, always very efficient. And the line kind of constitutes a game it'll probably be a blowout, let's say. An 81-64, 81-63, something like that. If we can just get DePaul to 60, I think Villanova will do the rest. If we can get DePaul 60, 65 points, I think this one gets over the total. I like the way DePaul kind of plays a little bit better in front of their home crowd. They're not good defensively either, giving up, I think, 77 points a game, something around there. Look, I think they can score tonight. Not a whole lot on this one. I kind of just see this one as like 78-65, 81-63, something like that. I think this one gets into the 140s.
Not concerned the fact that 10 of 13 have gone under in conference for Nova at all?
Well, I'm not. I am confident, Ryan, in the fact that 11 of 16 in this series have gone over. So again, in this series, I'll take a shot. Yeah, look, Nova plays great defense.
And that's
that's kind of
the one thing that does concern me. And this is a game that this is not something that would have been on my radar. The over in this spot or even a play on the total, just from the fact that look, Villanova can score. Obviously, they should be able to, and like Jeff said, coming off a kind of a quote unquote struggle in the first matchup between these two, but they should be able to score into the high 70s, low 80s for sure. You just have to ask yourself, can DePaul kind of score enough? Hopefully those numbers at home hold true tonight as far as field goal percentage and even kind of getting enough from beyond the arc. And that's something they need to. That's something I think they'll need to have in this game is the 3-point shooting to kind of keep them close. And it's unfortunate that Nova doesn't foul a ton because DePaul is a fantastic free throw shooting team. So, I'll let you take the reins on this one, man. I really don't have a feel on the total on this one. So, definitely be rooting you in, though, for sure.
First game was 68-65. That's 133 points. If DePaul can get similar numbers tonight...
That's pretty wild that they held Villanova to 68 points at home. That's crazy.
I mean, it was a back and forth. Villanova didn't shoot particularly well.
They had to come back. I mean, DePaul was leading for a good bit, I remember.
I get the feeling this is a little bit more of a higher-end blowout. Like I said, I think Villanova can look 75, 80 points in this one. I think this one will get over the total. I know you say free picks are recreational. Do you bet them, Percy, like small wagers? Yep. And again, if anyone wants to see those, I'll gladly send you the plays tonight. Again, what I bet is obviously if I'm giving you it out, clearly I'm going to bet it myself. That's why I'm telling you about it. DePaul only scored 58 points against Creighton. They have to shoot better today, I would guess. Yeah, I mean,
that would make sense.
Yeah, I would hope they will. We'll see. I see a team that's better at home offensively than usual. So I'll take a shot over. Again, the card sucks tonight. This card's trash, in my opinion. I'm not a big Monday fan. I don't like the Sun Belt. I don't like most of these games. So, again, I'm not really in love here. Georgia State, Coastal Carolina, I don't really have much opinion on. I hate the Sun Belt. It's one of my least favorite conferences. Other than, like, the MAC, this is one of my least favorite conferences. Tino says, thank you for everything you do. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate you for listening, man. Baylor, Texas Tech, we talked about. Louisville, Syracuse. Louisville at 3.
Doesn't it seem like every time Syracuse plays at home, the line's 3?
Yeah.
They're a 3-point dog. It seems like that constantly.
Yeah. No, it does. I mean, and for good reason. I mean, both these games are pretty close for the most part. What's your favorite, Jeff? I like Tuesday. I like Wednesdays and Thursdays, personally. Some of them West Coast, that kind of conference. We'll get to it. A lot of people talking about Syracuse. Obviously very good at home, 9-2 against the spread. We talked about that. But their guys are logging a lot of minutes. They don't have a ton of depth. Leiden, Gillen, Andrew White playing a lot of minutes. This is going to be a tough one tonight. You got everyone back for Louisville. Donovan Mitchell, Quentin Snyder, Mathiang, Dang, all back. A lot of people talking about Fab Melo. Tragedy. Terrible.
Yep.
Very sad. I don't think that affects this team tonight, though. I'm sure they'll do a moment of silence for him. And it's, again, not like, I think Teddy Cover said it best today. It's not like any one of these guys played with Fab Melo.
Right.
It will affect the school. I'm not sure it affects this team. I would go with Louisville here. I think they come in and get the win tonight.
I like Louisville as well. And I've been kind of critical on Louisville, and I know a lot of people may question that. But, this is a game they kind of have to have, too. A team like Louisville who, gritty performance, too, at home over the weekend against Miami, who Miami kind of just jumped out and caught them perhaps sleeping early. But credit to them for fighting back and getting a much-needed win. Now you have to go on the road in the Carrier Dome where they've had success. But I think the fact that they're fully loaded and this is a big game either way, too. Because you got a team in Syracuse who has continued to kind of stockpile some really big wins, and this would just be another notch on that belt. But, I just think at the end of the day, the talent level of Louisville goes a long way. And I agree with you on the Fab Melo point, though. I mean, the only person that had direct contact and a relationship with him is Coach Band.
Right.
He's the only person.
Right.
And he's not going to bring that up. He's not going to bring that
right.
up in the pregame speech in the locker room to a bunch of kids that don't know the guy. So
right.
it's not going to happen.
And look, Syracuse is a tough team at home. I mean, they've always been.
Well, of course.
And again, the zone's going to be potent tonight. But again, I mean, Louisville very good defensively as well. Could be a lower scoring game, but interesting total, 140.5. Seems a little high. I feel like this game hangs in the 60s.
Yeah.
64, 61,
True.
something like that. Both these teams should be able to play pretty good defense tonight. Georgia Southern, App State, no real opinion there. South Alabama, Lafayette, no opinion. Arkansas State, Texas State. I bet on Arkansas State a couple times this year. Not a particularly big fan of them. They have, Ryan, some good guards, no real inside presence. Texas State, I'm not sure if you know, very good defensively.
They are
very good.
They
defensively,
are, yeah.
Particularly at home.
I would ride with them here.
Yeah, probably. I would.
At home?
Probably agree with you on that. I did not know Andy McPhail, Ryan, was that old. I thought he was like a young guy.
Yeah.
I've heard him on the radio, the Phillies president. I thought he was younger, like way younger.
Probably a middle-aged fellow, yeah.
That guy's pretty old. Again, I was confused by that. Troy, UL Monroe. Ryan, you like Troy?
Yeah.
UL Monroe is pretty poor.
True, and it's interesting, Troy, and I made it clear that I like backing Troy in the underdog role, laying points on the road here, albeit against a bad UL Monroe team. I probably would lay it, but not in love with it at all.
Yeah, I don't have any on it. West Virginia, Kansas. I'm probably going to have a play on this game. I might. I might just take tonight off. I really don't like anything, but this is one that piques my interest. Do you have any opinion on this one?
If I remember correctly, Kansas went into West Virginia early in the year and lost.
Correct.
Pretty convincingly, too,
Correct.
if I remember. Look, I made it, and if I haven't, I'll do it right now. I made it clear that I'm not a big West Virginia guy. Year in and year out, I never really have.
Seems like they never lose. I don't know why.
Really?
It seems like every time I watch them, they always win.
I don't know. I'm just not a big West Virginia guy. Kind of year in and year out for some reason. I'm not sure. Look, they're 20-5. 3 of those 5 losses have come on the road, where they're 7-3. I'm just hard pressed to think that they go in to Allen Fieldhouse and cover this number. I would side with Kansas personally. Although they don't cover at home either. But I don't know. I'll just go with who I think is the better team and take Kansas.
Yeah, Eric, I'm not sure where you've been. I mean, we actually just talked about that game. Neither of us have an opinion on the Sun Belt that game. Again, Ryan said he might play Troy, but no glaring opinion there. Arkansas, Little Rock, Texas, Arlington. Watch out, Ryan, for Texas Arlington. They're a good basketball team.
They are.
Very good ATS, too. And Little Rock has had their issues on the road.
They got their little 5 seconds of fame, UT Arlington, during that Gonzaga-St. Mary's game. I don't know if you caught that. What's his name? Jay Billis name dropped them, talking about
They went into St. Mary's.
Correct.
Yeah.
They beat St. Mary's.
Well, look,
and Jay Billis said, look, UT Arlington is a good basketball team that no one really knows about. So they got their little 5 seconds.
The problem for sports bettors with Texas Arlington is they're not sneaking up on anyone anymore like they did last year. Every game they play, the line is 12, like this game. So they're not, just like IPFW, they're not sneaking up anymore on anyone. So, again, I'm not one to, no problem, buddy. Texas Arlington, I'm not going to bet against, put it that way. And I really don't want to bet on Little Rock either. Who's your biggest sleeper? I'm going to actually save that, Burns. I'm on Sportsbet on Wednesday. And that's something we're going to get into. So I'm going to actually save that one for that. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Furman, VMI. I'll tell you what, this VMI team's played a little bit better lately. Again, did beat Citadel pretty badly on Saturday. But no, they played well, Ryan. They beat Tennessee Chattanooga recently.
They're 4-1 their last 5 ATS, so yeah, ATS-wise, they are playing well.
Their home crowd's actually not bad. I don't know. A lot of people like the over here. A lot of people are betting this over. I would probably maybe stay under, but I feel like as soon as I bet VMI, they'll get trashed. So I'm good.
I've made it clear that I like this Furman team. I pointed out to you. I pointed out onto the chat box that I thought they were a really, really good play on Saturday at home against Samford. After Samford comes off that 4 overtime loss to Wofford, then has to turn around and go on the road to a Furman team that's playing really good basketball right now, and Furman really kind of dismantled them. I would go Furman here as well. I like Furman right now. I like the way they're playing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think my one issue here with the over is VMI. They don't play like they used to. VMI used to shoot 43s a game. Like, that used to be their MO. They don't do that anymore. And, Furman has been a pretty good defensive team all year. Yeah, first half, Frank, that's a good point. Maybe for Furman first half here. But I don't have much on it. Furman is a good team from there's Scott Weaver. Scott would know. He's from that area.
Right.
Welcome, Scott. We got to get Scott back on the show. I miss some of the old school guys.
Yep.
Scott and Greg, the Donner Mafia. We got to get them back on the show.
Agreed.
We got to get back to the old school, Ryan.
Yep.
Monmouth, Siena. This is a tough one because Siena. It seems like every time they're in a good spot, they just don't get it done. Beat Iona the other day. And this Monmouth team, listen, I think they're vulnerable in the MAC tournament. I think someone's going to knock them off. They found a way to win the other night against Manhattan. Manhattan kind of pissed it away. I don't know that they really won. I like the Siena team at home. They got Nico Clarith back, a guy that I thought was off the team. Now he's back, and he's kind of made a little bit of a difference. Call me crazy, Ryan. I kind of like Siena in this game. I don't like Manhattan's ATS numbers.
Monmouth, yeah.
Monmouth,
I like Siena too. I'm going to roll the dice with them, take them as my play of the day here, actually.
All right.
It's kind of one of them spots where you ask yourself, why are 21-5 teams laying this kind of number on the road against Siena, who, is under 500? It seems kind of one of them lines that's too good to be true. I'll take the home dog here, roll with Siena. I'll roll with Siena too, for not just because of the fishy line, but also for the fact that they guard the 3-ball really well, which I think will keep them in the game Sunday. And just overall, they play good defense at home, holding teams to under 70 points a game. So I think that will, in turn, limit Monmouth offensively. And Monmouth defensively isn't anything to get excited about. So I think that will be enough for Siena on both sides of the court to stay in this game. And I think Siena wins, personally.
They're well coached. Jimmy Patsos is fantastic. They have a good home atmosphere. And they have a 3-headed monster right now with Clarith back. Brett Bisping, Marquise Wright, and Clarith back.
Yep.
I like them tonight. Monmouth's a good team. I just don't have the same luster with them that I did last year.
Right.
They're not shooting a high percentage. A lot of people liking Monmouth here.
Yep.
Line's not moving at all. It's been at 2 all day.
Yep.
I like Siena here. I agree with you. I think they win.
Yep.
Good call, Ryan. I like it. Ryder, Fairfield. Seems like these teams play every night.
They do. Seems like it.
Doesn't it, Ryan? Doesn't it seem like they play every night?
Yep.
Here we go, Ryan. My wheelhouse. Morgan State and Howard. Live on ESPNU. Stan Luter on the call. Love it. I actually have a small opinion in this one, Ryan. I would go with Howard here. I like look. Howard's 5-20. Okay, they're not very good. They shoot a better percentage than Morgan State, and in this conference, that's really important. They're better defensively than Morgan State. Look, you're never going to make money betting on MEAC road teams. I like Howard. I like the Bison here. They've had a tough season. James Daniels been injured the whole year. I think on the national stage, this is a proud university, a proud black university. I think in front of the home crowd on national TV, I think they play well tonight. I think they cover. This line is hanging. It's kind of been hanging. A lot of people liking Morgan State for whatever reason. Listen, here's my opinion on a game like this. You shouldn't be betting this game if you haven't seen these teams.
Agreed.
Play. I've seen a lot of Morgan State.
I've
seen a lot of Morgan State tickets out there.
Yep.
I actually sit on Monday nights and watch these games. You know that, Ryan. I think Howard's a better team. I do. I'll go with them here. I would bet them on the money line here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything on that.
Colgate.
I don't sit there with you and watch these teams.
Yeah, you hate this.
I find better things to do.
I've actually asked you, Ryan, to go to Morgan. I've actually asked you to go to Morgan State, Coppin State before, haven't I?
Here's the thing. I feel like this is just me making a joke.
Yeah.
And you know how on the show you can't make jokes because people crucify.
Well, again,
it, right?
Don't say anything stupid.
No, but I'm gonna say it but I want to preface it by saying it's a joke. I think it would be comical,
all right,
unless I wore a trench coat and a baseball cap to walk into that gymnasium as a 6'2", 250 redheaded guy.
Nah, you'd be all right.
There's like one white person.
I know.
In that stadium, and it's a ref.
You got to understand, they're all HBCs. I mean, they're all historically black colleges.
No, I know.
That's what these schools are.
I know.
I think whether it's the SWAC, the MEAC, the Summit League, wherever you go in this country, I think this is the real antithesis of basketball. I think these are the kids that make up what the NCAA is all about. These are kids that they're not playing basketball after this.
No,
maybe overseas.
Not at all.
But other than that...
Probably not even.
And I'm going to tell you what, Ryan, that's actually untrue. Most of these kids will go over and play overseas. A lot of these kids will make a nice living playing overseas. We have a kid locally here, Ryan, went to Ryder, Jerry Johnson. He plays in Kazakhstan. Makes $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Like doing what he loves, yeah.
You know, a good friend of mine, Dustin Salisbury, he plays in Egypt right now. Makes a very good living. You know,
probably tough dribbling around them pyramids, huh?
It's not a bad life, though. And I think this is what basketball is, these schools. And,
sure.
You know, I'm going to tell you right now, in a 3 weeks, 2 weeks, watching teams like this will pay off because eventually these will be the same people betting on Longwood, and they've never seen Longwood play basketball.
Right.
Do yourself a favor. You have nothing better to do. Watch these games. Watch these kind of kids. Because eventually, you're going to be in a position on a Tuesday afternoon, Ryan, in the MEAC tournament, betting on Delaware State. So, take for what it's worth. Other one, Bucknell Colgate. You have a chance to see Bucknell, who many believe will win the Patriot League this year. Good team, Bucknell.
Big home favorite.
Colgate playing well, though. They've covered some numbers. Colgate always a tough out-of-conference schedule. They're always going to give you a good effort. Getting a pretty healthy number here for what it's worth. It sucks betting against Bucknell.
Yeah, for sure. And you know they hit a lull. Colgate hit a lull, but they've won 5 of 7 right now. Like you said, Jeff, they're playing pretty well on the road against a Bucknell team. A lot of people do like Bucknell. A lot of people on Bucknell, but I'll be honest, don't have a big opinion on it. I would, like, my gut tells me to maybe grab Colgate with the points, but I'm good.
Keep in mind, Lehigh University, they were kind of a team that many thought would be kind of a tough out for Bucknell. They have not played well lately.
They've went away, yeah.
Right. Bucknell maybe will seize the day here. Keep in mind, though, Bucknell, one of the top 5 wagers, though, on scores and odds, which is never good.
The 5th win, yep.
Yeah, which is never a good thing. A lot of public betting Bucknell. They've never seen Bucknell. Might be a good spot to take Colgate here, plus the 2 touchdowns, if we're talking football, right?
Right.
So for me tonight, I'm going to go with Baylor minus 2.5, and I'm also going to go with over 137 DePaul Villanova. I do like Howard tonight. That's an interesting one I'll be looking at. Maybe a small play on them. What I will say, guys, maybe tune into Twitter. Maybe I'll have a second half or two. I've been playing around with those and have some fun with them too. So Ryan's play of the day, I like Siena plus the 2
Yep.
against Monmouth. Really need this one, Siena.
Yeah.
Be a nice confidence.
So does Ryan D'Amico. He really needs it as well. So we're pulling for him. The Saints go marching in tonight. Let's hope.
The Siena. Where is Siena?
The St. Bernards.
Do you know where that is?
New York.
Good, correct.
Yeah, thought so.
Staten Island.
I feel like you've asked me that.
Or no,
before.
Long Island, actually.
Yeah.
I've actually asked you Wagner, and you don't know it still, I don't think.
New Jersey.
Staten Island. Can you tell us the highest percentage of public bets in which game? Frank, that's tough, man. You got to look.
Just go on scores and odds.
Yeah, Scores and odds will help.
simple.
I mean, Sports Insights.
Sports Insight.
You know, Sports. I mean, there's all sorts of places, and Covers has it too on Covers.com.
Right. There's a lot of places to look.
Yeah. So Ryan, I was watching. Like I mentioned earlier, I was kind of looking for something to watch the other night, and I, for whatever reason, I saw him. I saw something on Tony Kukoc, and it had me thinking about, Vladi, Divac, who I've always been a big fan of. I love those Kings teams back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
With Peja and
Vladi and
Mitch Richmond early
Yep.
and Doug Christie and just really quality.
Bibby and
Rick Adelman was good. Yeah,
White Chocolate,
Michael
what's his
Bibby,
name?
Jason
Jason
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah, it was fantastic stuff. And so I got to watching because clearly I have a cultural connection. I'm Albanian.
It's a wonder that team never won. It's really astounding.
Well,
it's a shame
the
Lakers,
Yugoslavian team.
Well,
or
no, I'm
the
talking about the Kings.
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
I was talking about the Kings.
No, yeah, they were very
It's a shame
good.
the Lakers
Sure.
were that good at that time because the Kings could have had a couple championships.
Yeah, no, they were really good. I mean, they were a fantastic team. But so I was watching that, and you look at a team, that Croatian-Serbian team, because at the time Yugoslavia was 6 countries altogether. They had Vladi and Tony Kukoc, and many think Drazen Petrovic is one of the best players ever. Just great. And it was a cool story. If you haven't seen it, Once Brothers, very good. One of the better 30 for 30s you're going to find. And it got me thinking, Ryan, to kind of compare today's NBA to that NBA and kind of come up with a team of, if you will, of our favorites. It could be your favorites or kind of just guys you really liked growing up. Because the NBA I knew, with the Kings and back with guys like Sharif Abdur-Rahim and Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller and John Starks and Charles Oakley.
NBA was way better then.
Yeah, there
is not one person, and I wouldn't. And to be honest, and I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt and listen to their points. I wouldn't even listen to the argument of someone to try to say that the NBA today is better than it was then.
It's not even close.
It's not.
The 90s NBA, which was when I was coming up as a kid, like Iverson,
when
Iverson.
we were in middle school to around that time.
Yeah, basically pre-2005.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
Early 2000. That was the basketball. It was amazing. Every team had something. Yep. The Jazz were good.
And there were rivalries, and I've touched on that before.
Correct. I mean, teams didn't like each other.
Nope.
The Bulls didn't like the Celtics or the Jazz or whoever. The Sixers were good. The Seattle Sonics, you remember them?
Yep. Of course.
There were so many. I mean, I remember the Hornets with Bobby Wesley and Bobby Phills and David Wesley and
Baron Davis.
Yeah, Paul Silas was the coach, I believe. Just fantastic. I mean, Detlef Schrempf and guys like that.
Names.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to come up with, and again, I did a mixture. Basically, it's 90s, basically 1990 till today.
Yep.
Anything pre-1990, I kind of kept out of it. So I'll give out my team, Ryan, and then you can give out your. Maybe we go position by position.
Just go position by position.
I'll start with the coach, Pat Riley.
Okay.
I think a lot of people will put and say Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson was given the best team.
Yep.
Okay, just like Roy
Both
Williams.
places he went, too.
Correct. I like Pat Riley because not only did Pat Riley was he a great coach, but he turned bad teams into winners. He turned the Heat and Knicks into a good franchise. He won Coach of the Year 3 times in the 90s. He was just the players liked him.
Yep.
He was just kind of he reminded me of an older Jay Wright, kind of a good looking, well dressed, very people listen. You're very connected. I like Pat Riley a lot, and I think what he's doing at the higher level now is impressive.
Yeah.
Do you go Phil Jackson or?
I don't actually go Phil Jackson. I actually went with Pop.
Okay.
I've always liked Greg Popovich. To me, what stands out to me about Popovich is he's done it for such a long period of time at such a high level. And to do it in the Western Conference, which seemingly has always been, at least lately in his heyday, has been the traditionally tougher conference. And just what he gets out of his players, the connection he has with his players, and he puts on this kind of persona on TV with the interviews that people like to build up. But if you talk to anyone on that roster, anyone, whether it was Tim Duncan all the way down to Bruce Bowen, they loved playing for Popovich.
He's the Bill Belichick of the NBA.
He is. That's a good comparison. He really is. And I love Popovich. And if I had a son who played in the NBA, he's the one guy I'd like to play with because he genuinely cares. He's smart as a tack.
He turns guys into winners.
Yeah.
He makes guys better. And
look what we did with Kawhi. I mean, that's exhibit
exactly.
A. That's exhibit
and
A.
that's why I think Kawhi Leonard is an astounding player because of where he came from and what he became. Yeah. He couldn't shoot a lick in college.
And that's a credit to him practicing and working on his craft. But obviously, coaching is huge. So I'll go with Pop.
And Scott makes a great point. They win on the road. They're always there.
Yep.
They're very
That's
fundamental.
The thing. Guys are going away, and people are saying, the Spurs' time's done. What do they have? The second or third best record this year in the West.
They're always going to be relevant.
I mean, they're always relevant.
There's a lot of good coaches, though. I thought the good thing about the '90s as well was there were a lot of great coaches. Don Nelson, Larry Brown, Rick Adelman, Mike Dunleavy, Chuck Daly. There were so many great coaches. Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Van Gundy. Rudy Tomjanovich, remember him from Houston? Just fantastic. The '90s were so good in every aspect. The way people dressed, the way people acted, music, the economy was great. We had great. I want the '90s back. I want it back.
That's when we grew up.
Everything about my childhood was fantastic.
Yep.
I'm so happy to grow up in this.
Agreed.
Let's go through the starters, Ryan.
Yep.
For me, point guard, I'm going to go with Magic Johnson.
Okay.
I wavered on Magic. I considered, Steve Nash was great.
Stockton?
He's my backup. Okay. He would be my backup. But Magic just kind of,
he was very graceful.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great guy to play for.
The thing about him, too, and the thing, when I look at great players, is one thing that I like to look at and see if this player has done it, is he redefined the position.
Right.
I mean, a guy that big that can handle the ball that way, no one saw it before.
And that's where you see they compare Ben Simmons. I've heard Magic comparisons because of his size.
Yes.
It translates.
Yes.
And anyone that played with Magic, I never hear anything bad about.
It's funny. We almost got a glimpse of that had he stopped growing and not turned into the 6'11" guy that he is today with Anthony Davis. Because in early high school, Anthony Davis was a point guard.
Right.
And then he just kept growing, and we're like, we can't play point guard.
Right. But I'll tell you what, if you talk about a true point guard, John Stockton is a magician.
If you want to talk about just facilitator?
Right.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I mean, just the way, and that's why him and Karl Malone were so fantastic. Yep. Just with the chemistry they had, it was like fine wine.
Exactly.
But yeah, Magic for me is number one. I don't think any of these kids today. Chris Paul's very good.
Yep. Westbrook.
Russell's great. I just think Magic, like you said, redefine the position, has to be number one.
That's who I have as my point guard is Magic Johnson.
It's pretty simple.
I think so.
And I think second, I would probably either go with Nash or John Stockton.
I go Stockton by two, just because I like. And the way, and again, we talk about transitioning with the game, but the point guard is supposed to be a facilitator, and that's what John Stockton was.
Sure.
And he can still shoot, though.
Sure.
You can't take that away from him.
Shooting guard, and this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Don't even have to really talk about it.
But I have some fun here with the backup, because it's a shame that, and I'm going to keep bringing it up, if you've not ever seen Petrovic play, I would highly recommend it. I mean, you got guys like Reggie Miller that said he was a better shooter than Reggie Miller. Everything he shot meant in. A lot like Jimmy Chitwood, if you've watched Hoosiers.
Right.
Jimmy Chitwood never missed.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that's how Drazen was. Drazen was passed away early on. But from what I understand, he's in the Hall of Fame. What he did for Croatian basketball and for the world, I think he could have been LeBron-esque, that type of player. I love watching videos with him. I think he's fantastic. Reggie Miller was great. I mean, there were so many great shooting guards. I mean, Scottie Pippen.
Yep.
Even today with Dwayne Wade.
Right.
Just so many.
Klay Thompson.
Correct. But from what I think could have been and what they were, if you haven't seen Wade Drazen played, go check him out. Fantastic. Ryan, I don't know if you've seen much of him. Little tape.
Yeah, I have.
Things like that. Played. You know what's crazy?
But
he was behind Clyde Drexler, so he didn't get a lot of love
Right.
in Portland.
Yep.
He goes to New Jersey and redefined the position.
Right.
He dropped 40 against Michael Jordan, right?
Yep.
40.
Right. That's the beauty about YouTube. I use YouTube more for sports highlights than anything because you can look up anyone really, any game. I use it for sports highlights just to kind of like you said, go back. I mean, you talk about sports that are different today than they used to be. I know you're not a big fan of it, and not a lot of people are, but I love '90s hockey, and I go back on YouTube from time to time and look at '90s hockey. I mean, that ESPN theme song gets me every time. So YouTube's great, and Petrovic highlights are. If you haven't checked them out, do it. So
And they were such great teams, and kind of the story behind Divac and him, and how they began to not like each other because of war and disparity and that kind of thing. Great if you haven't seen it. Small forward, LeBron.
Yep.
I mean,
that's funny. We thought we were going to go off go off a different scale. All three of ours are the same. So.
I mean, I don't know how you can really. Yeah. Maybe Kobe. I mean. But other than that, I mean, I kind of
close, but I do like LeBron.
I mean, I thought Grant Hill was really underrated. I mean, Grant Hill, he kind of just did everything the right way.
Yeah.
But Kobe and LeBron were right there.
Yep.
But early on, Kobe was absolutely unbelievable, really.
I like LeBron just because he's a little more physically enticing.
Oh, sure.
The physicality.
He's a specimen.
Yep.
He's never going to be. There's no small forward that I would pick over LeBron.
Right.
Power forward. We're just doing 90s and 2000s, man.
Just combined. Yeah. It's not separate. I think people got lost track.
Yeah. It's everything after 1990. Nothing pre-1990.
It's a date.
So, you're not going to see Pete Maravich on here. Right. Bill Walton.
Pistol Pete.
Right. There you go. Good call. Yeah. Pistol Pete Maravich. Yep. Power forward, I go with Malone.
Okay.
I mean, he's...
The mailman.
Yeah. I mean, the way he scored was just... It was, easy. I mean, it was just... fantastic, and he wasn't a physically imposing guy really. He was just kind of witty and quick, and him and I think Stockton made him who he was.
Sure,
it was a great system for him. Jerry Sloan was a very good coach as well out in Utah. I also like Dirk as well. I mean, Dirk,
a 7-foot guy like that.
I think Dirk's one of the more underrated players to ever come into this game. I mean, the way he trained, we never saw a guy like Dirk come in and be able to shoot from three.
Yep.
Get
to the glove, get to the cup.
Right, right. It's just fantastic.
The thing about Dirk I like too is I don't know if I've ever heard him speak more than 20 words. He's so quiet.
Yeah.
Unless he does a post-game interview. I mean, you don't see him out and about. He doesn't do commercials. He doesn't do... He's just goes about his
And
job.
that's why I like Kawhi, because Kawhi is not your typical NBA diva kind of guy. He's just kind of, off the record,
Yeah.
But Karl Malone and Dirk for me. Tim Duncan,
that's mine
right there.
Tim Duncan's mine. Okay. I mean, you talk about just bona fide winner.
Yeah.
I mean, just fantastic. And he did it for such a long period of time at a high level. And same kind of thing. Just kind of went about his business. Wasn't caught up in any drama or anything. Yeah, he just. So if I'm going to have Pop as my coach, I have to have at least one Spurs player, and he's it.
And that's why, I think. And that's why I think he's a great coach, Popovich, because while I agree Bill Belichick is fantastic, I don't think he runs as tight a ship as he maybe should. I.e. Aaron Hernandez. I.e.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
But,
I think it's a little unfair.
But if you ever looked at the Spurs, never involved with issues on the court.
No, I agree.
Ever. And that's all it's about. That's how a great coach is a great coach.
Smaller roster in NBA than NFL.
Right. Center, Shaq.
Yep, that's mine.
He's the most dominating player I've ever seen in the NBA. The things he did were unbelievable. No one could stop.
Yeah.
He was impossible to stop unless you fouled him.
Yep.
Which I'm surprised more teams didn't do.
I know.
Because he was that bad.
Sure.
Foul shots. But I think he's one of my favorite athletes ever as far as growing up. I loved Shaq. My first dog was named Shaq, Ryan. I'm serious. That's how much I love Shaq. And I...
Did you see the Orlando Magic 30 for 30?
No.
With him and Penny Hardaway?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite
No
ones.
shit. I'll watch it tonight.
That's one of my favorites.
Very cool. Penny Hardaway was a great player, too.
Yep.
High school coach now. We've talked about. Listen, there's a lot of great bigs also that didn't make the list. I think Arvydas Sabonis, very limited time in the NBA. As far as a passing big man, I don't think you get a better passer. We talked about Vlade. You know, Vlade at his peak was really fantastic. I think the funniest thing I heard about Vlade was when he came to the United States, Jerry West picked him up at the airport, and he said he smelled horrible.
Who, Divac?
Yeah. Like he didn't shower much, and only
because he's foreign.
All he knew how to say was he wanted a hamburger.
I want the hamburger.
Yeah. A hamburger.
Yep.
Yeah. Great player. And now look at Vlade. He's a VP for the Kings.
Exactly.
Doing big things. So, and he seems like a genuinely really nice person.
Sure.
Like I want to meet Vlade.
Yeah.
I don't like Serbian people, but I do like Vlade, and I think he paved the way for a lot of you know Dirk and Peja and all those guys. Rick Smits.
Remember him? Ugly guy.
Yeah, he was one of the uglier players.
It's funny. I hated him as a kid because when the Sixers and Pacers had that rivalry, because the Sixers couldn't beat the Pacers in the playoffs for the longest time. It seemed like the Pacers always bounced them, and the Sixers just did not have an answer for Rick Smits. Reggie Miller obviously filled it up, but it was just like I was a kid, and I'm like, who is this Rick Smits, and why can't the Sixers stop him?
You know, his son actually
pissed me off.
His son actually plays in college now.
Oh yeah,
I have to look up what team he plays for, but I've heard his name.
Yeah.
You know, two guys I hated when I was younger.
Ew.
I hated these guys. They were great players. They just pissed me off. Dale and Antonio Davis.
Yeah, Antonio Davis for the Raptors.
Dale played for the Pacers.
Yeah.
And Antonio played for the Pacers.
Antonio
or
played
Raptors.
for the Raptors.
I mean. Yeah, right. I hated those two.
Yeah.
Hated
Yeah.
them. But there was who did you hate as in the NBA growing up? There were a lot of great names, man.
In the
just pesky guys, really.
In the NBA,
Like I hated Detlef Schrempf, to be honest. Like he was one of those guys growing up. He seemed to never miss either.
you're right.
You know, and like Hershey Hawkins, I never liked.
I don't know because I didn't get in heavily into the NBA until early 2000s. Like I watched the NBA as a kid, but I wasn't a diehard fan.
Dude,
so
I was obsessed with the NBA.
Yeah.
I remember my first comforter from my bed, and my mom might still have it. It was awesome. It had all the logos on it.
I had that in football though.
Yeah.
I had that in the NFL.
Some of the logos back then were great.
Yep.
It was just so good, the NBA back then.
Sports
every
in
player
general.
was there was an actual bench. Every player
Contributed.
and that's what I hate most about today's NBA is there's a lot of really high level teams, and then the lower level teams they just never win.
They're terrible.
You know, every team had some positivity, and the good teams now, the Warriors sucked when we were younger.
They were very bad.
The Clippers were horrible.
Always bad.
Rex Chapman. Yeah, I hated him and Dan Marley. I was never a fan of those
Chapman.
two. Thunder Dan Marley.
Yeah, I remember Dan Marley. Yep.
I was a big Alonzo Mourning fan also. But we got to relive that.
Yeah.
I'm bringing throwbacks back. I said it. I'm bringing them back. I'm copping all the throwbacks, man. I used to love them when I was a kid. I had a Rasheed Wallace throwback, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I never got into the quote unquote throwback fad. I
had a ton
I was
of them.
never into that.
I got to bring that back. Ryan, let's stay into 5 questions here. Good, fun segment there.
Yeah.
Always nice to relive
For sure.
the 90s.
That's true. 5 questions here. Let me get that up quickly. Okay. 5 questions for this Monday evening. Number 1, who had the biggest win in college basketball over the weekend?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame?
Yeah. I think they had to have that. I mean, that was a national stage. People were down on them. People were kind of thinking, you know what, they're not as athletic as Florida State. And again, I'll go off what I saw today on, I think it was either on the radio or somewhere. If you looked at Florida State's roster, I mean, they're physically imposing over Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame went in, hit him in the mouth, didn't give up the lead. Bonzie Colson was great. Notre Dame. They had to have that.
Yeah, that's actually mine as well.
Gonzaga's a good one too.
I just think, yeah. But
I mean, people were talking shit, man.
I know.
I saw so many St. Mary's tickets.
Right.
St. Mary's going to get it done.
Yeah, no, I
blah,
know.
blah, blah, blah,
I
blah.
know. Yeah,
I think we all realized they're shooting 55% every game. That's just what they do.
I think too. We realized that. I don't think St. Mary's is really as good as
said
they lead on to be. But regardless, back to the question at hand. I agree. That's actually going to be one we agree on is Notre Dame. I think that's a game they had to have at what they were 19 or 18-7. 7 losses. You can't get to 8. I mean, really, especially at home. Notre Dame pretty cut and dry for me.
I'll tell you another team yesterday I thought was actually 2 teams yesterday I thought had great wins. Michigan. I mean, they've just continued to kind of hang on the bubble. Needed a big win, went in and got it,
and they dominated.
And Indiana's done.
They're done. They dominated Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana was just
they're junk.
They were
trash.
lost.
SMU.
Is there not a well? And that kind of goes into my third question. So
SMU had another really good win. Cincinnati hit them in the mouth early, couldn't miss, jumped out to a 9-point lead in the second half. SMU went on a 19-2 run. Ryan got the job done. That's a big win for them. They're now tied with Cincinnati. Look at this.
Yeah, Marcus Smith.
I've never seen him.
Getting some airtime in a nice cashmere sweater.
Like it.
Number 2. Who had the biggest loss over the weekend? I'll go first. Let you think.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't. It sucks because technically it really wasn't.
I have actually a couple.
It wasn't over the weekend. I wish I could use Thursday because I think that Oregon loss at UCLA was big, but they bounced back nicely against USC. But my biggest loss was Wisconsin for the reason that so many people were flat, and it could go work 2 ways too because Butler's loss on the road at Providence was big because for 2 reasons. One, people were questioning why Butler was in that last 4 seed instead of Wisconsin.
Right.
Butler goes out and loses, so everyone's like, hey, there's our case in point. Wisconsin at home is going to beat Northwestern. And they turn around and lose. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they've lost now twice to Northwestern this year, right? Northwestern beat them twice, right?
I don't believe so.
No, I thought they beat them twice.
No.
But to me, that's the biggest loss. I mean, for Wisconsin to kind of be kind of snugged by the committee and not be a 4 seed, and then you kind of just make their point for them and lose at home by 7 to a Northwestern team who, really you should beat. I mean, Wisconsin they can't score. I mean, for the last month or so, this team just can't score the basketball. And, a lot of people were high on Wisconsin to start the year, myself included, with all the talent they brought back. But, they're kind of lost. So for me, it's Wisconsin.
Yeah, that would be undoubtedly where I would go. I mean, especially, like you said, after being left out maybe of that top 16, and then you go out and lose outright.
Exactly.
I mean, what is that all about?
Exactly.
I mean, Northwestern's best player wasn't playing.
Right.
Scotty Lindsey wasn't
He's
playing.
out. He's been out, yeah.
And I don't get it because, I look at Wisconsin and I see a team that's, on paper, pretty
really
good.
Talented,
I mean,
yeah.
But
you have guards, you have bigs, you have wings. I mean, yeah.
Florida State though, that's another bad. They can't win on the road. I mean, that's their problem. And Earth to Florida State, but the tournament's not in Florida State.
That's a team.
They're a horrible X and O team.
That's right.
They're terrible.
All they are athletes. That's all they are.
Right, and they have no cohesion at all.
That's all they are, athletes.
And that's why Leonard Hamilton. We can continue to wonder how he gets big jobs. But
number 3
is Tom Crean. Does he get fired?
Well, here, I'm going to talk about him. I'm actually going to talk about him right now.
Yeah.
Give me a team that has surprised you, either good, like it's a good surprise, or has been a bad surprise. And I'll kick it off with Indiana. I mean, we were talking. When you came into my room
They beat Kentucky and Duke, Ryan.
And North Carolina. North Carolina they beat.
Oh yeah, or Kansas they beat too. They beat who? Did they beat?
The wins that they have in the beginning of the year are mind blowing. And they have just fallen off, and they're not going to make the tournament now. I mean, a game yesterday that you had to have, and granted you're playing a desperate Michigan team as well that needed to have it, but at home, a place you've beaten Michigan 14 of the last 15, you're dominating inside, but none of your guards and none of your wings want to step up and make a play, and defensively they were lost. I mean, that Michigan likes to live on the perimeter, and I mean, the amount of open looks that the Michigan got from 3 yesterday were astounding. So, for me, yeah, and to touch on Tom Crean, yeah, look, I think he's starting to kind of wear out his welcome. I mean, he had that really nice year with Zeller and that kind of group of guys that was a really good team that a lot of people thought could win the national championship. Had a nice run, went deep into March, but other than that, I mean, what has he really done? I mean, his claim to fame is being related to the Harbaughs.
This Indiana team is terrible. They're awful.
Yep.
Other than Bryant, they have nothing. They have no guards. James Blackman's one of the more overrated players
overrated.
ever. I mean, and then he throws the team under the bus like it's their
That was
fault.
fucked up.
I mean, I've never coached a team with this lack of maturity when they face adversity.
Yep.
Hey, Tom, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. 69 and 88 in the Big Ten in 9 years. Yeah. Great stat. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Stop.
I was really flabbergasted with that. The fact that that's the kind of, to throw your team under the bus like that, it's very, very disheartening. So, so I'll go Indiana. Michigan State, best game we're talking about Michigan State. A thing you got to remember about Michigan State, too, very young team.
Lost a lot.
They're very young and they lost a lot. So, agreed. Not sure anyone thought they'd be this poor, but to think that they were going to be a team that contend in March, I think is a little unfair.
As far as surprise, though, I mean, I think...
remember, good or bad?
Yeah, I mean, good. I guess surprising would be... but I think it's been pretty... Honestly, I'll go back to this team. I think it's been pretty impressive what SMU's done. I mean, they've turned into kind of a... after all that happened there with Larry Brown and being ineligible for the tournament last year, lost Nick Moore. I mean, they've been fantastic this year. Defensively, they're very good. Tim Janovich, I believe is how you say his last name, 4 losses in his since starting there. They've done a great job, but I think there's a lot of teams that are more disappointing than teams that are really good. I mean, Wisconsin's been poor.
Yeah.
Indiana, there's a lot.
Sure. Okay, that's a good one. Number 4, out of these 5 teams that I will list, which one, and I preface by saying pick one, is least likely to win it all?
Okay, least likely.
Yes.
Okay.
And I put the first team in there for the audience because I know you ain't going to say them. Gonzaga, Kansas, Villanova, UNC, or Arizona?
Kansas.
You think Kansas is least likely?
Because I don't think they're good enough defensively. Okay. I really don't. And I think down low, like if they face a team that has a really good front court and can play with their guards, I think they'll lose.
Okay.
And again, I think they're a team that, again, they continuously win and win year after year. Look, Josh Jackson's great. You're 100% right, but I'm just not sure Landon Lucas is enough. I just don't think it is. And I think defensively they have some problems at times.
Yeah.
But I think all the other 4 are teams that I think are less flawless.
I say Arizona, and I've talked about them for about 2 weeks now, and I'm still a little concerned about Arizona with the way that they're just kind of sneaking by in some of the. I mean, Cal, they really had a struggle at home against Cal, a team that and Cal is a solid team. Don't get me wrong, Ivan Rabb and that group of guys over there, but I'm going to say Arizona. The talent is there. But for some reason, they're just not really putting it all together now. I think they should be a little bit better than they are personally, just from the eye test. And it's just from the eye test. Look, they're winning their games. They're doing all that they're asked to do. But from the eye test, I'm going to go Arizona. Number 5, let's cap it off with this one. We've done this in years past, and I think it's pretty fun to talk about. Give me your dream matchup this year. If you could pick 2 teams, doesn't matter what conference it is, and you could pin them together for a superstar game.
Okay.
Who would you pick?
Wow.
Would you use Gonzaga as one? Would you want to pick them out? Because to me, that's what I would do. I really want to pick Gonzaga out right now at the end of the year and put them up against kind of one of the bigger dogs in the
Ryan,
country.
you might not have to do that because they might just get there.
I'd
probably I would like to see Gonzaga and Villanova probably.
Okay.
Because I think right now they're probably 1-2.
Okay.
It would be interesting to see Gonzaga play like a Kansas.
I think Gonzaga, Kansas, Gonzaga, Arizona, because you look at Villanova. If
Beat
Gonzaga
'em
plays,
already.
if Gonzaga
They beat 'em already, right?
who?
Gonzaga
The
beat
beginning of
Arizona.
the year, and the team's very
Who
different.
cares?
I care.
I mean, they still beat them.
Yeah, but it was in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, when they were all healthy.
I think you can ask anyone on the face of the earth if Arizona was a better team now or then, and they'd say now. But the thing with Gonzaga playing Villanova is Villanova's lack of an inside game, I think, would really hurt them. So, but yeah, I think I'd go like Gonzaga, Arizona now. I'd like to see that rematch, just because some of the size that Arizona can have in there with Karnowski. But there's been some fun matchups too, especially last week with the UCLA Arizona and whatnot. So so we'll see as the year goes on. When March comes, it's always fun seeing some of those big matchups as the Elite Eight, Final Four comes along.
Yeah, no, there are going to be a ton of great ones this year, Ryan, for sure.
It's funny. I talked about parity a lot in my tweets on the show. I use the word parity a lot. CBS Sports just had an article about why there's so much parity. Pretty good read on their website. So must have been listening to the big man on campus.
Seth Davis was responding to my tweets. I said, maybe he listens. I don't know. Nova UNC rematch. Yeah, that'd be
fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Purdue. I'm done. I'm good with Purdue.
Same here.
Is
there a more overrated player than Haas?
No.
To be that big
that's a
and
great
that
point.
like
he's the softest
he's like
player I've ever
aloof.
seen.
He's like
he's so overrated.
very.
Swanigan,
He has like no moves.
Yeah.
He has no moves.
I think Haas is such a waste.
Yeah,
I mean, such a waste. But yeah, I do like Swanigan though a lot. We'll see though. One team I know won't be in the Final Four is Florida State. Can we put that? Can we stop with them?
Agreed.
I mean, all right, Ryan. That's it for tonight. Thank you. Great questions as always. Good participation from the group here tonight. I like Nova DePaul over 137. I also like Baylor -2.5. Ryan, his play of the day is Siena +2. Everyone have a great night. We'll be back Tuesday with another edition of the Big Man on Campus. Obviously, guys, feel free tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern, SBRforum.com, SBR Picks. We will discuss and continue our descent into March Madness. I will host the roundtable. We will talk college hoops. Bring all your questions, college hoops. We'll talk with Drew Martin, Donnie Rightside, Ed Fang, Ian Cameron, Drew Martin. Everybody will join us live at 12:30 on SBR Forum. It is live. You can jump on and chat with us. Always fun, always great information. Feel free to join us tomorrow at 12:30 at SBRforum.com. Everyone have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, with another edition of The Big Man on Campus. Have a great day. Bye-bye.